Hi, I'm Darren.
And I'm Anthony.
And this is another episode of Decoded where we talk about the news in tech this week.
All right, so what are we talking about this week?
Well, I think the one thing we need to talk about is the big news that happened with Facebook and Oculus. In fact, I've heard so much about it now that I don't know if I want to talk about it, but let's just go ahead and jump right in.
We have to talk about it. $2 billion is something to talk about.
$2 billion is something to talk about.
Okay.
For those people who don't know, Oculus Rift is the VR headset. It was kickstarted successfully, but that was in 2012, I think.
Yeah.
It's been heralded as like the next computing platform,
next
gaming, peripheral, and then eventually probably its own platform in its own right.
Yeah.
And obviously Facebook wants in.
Yeah, they see new tech, they see future tech, and they're jumping in. So hopefully we won't get Farmville VR.
Right.
Right? So don't worry about it, internet folks. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're just investing in the future.
Right. And here's the thing. So when I heard of this news, it happened on Tuesday around like 5:30 or so. And as soon as I heard about it, I knew that people were going to be upset, and in fact, that is the case.
Sure, I got tweets all over the place.
And I think there's two groups of people here that are upset. I think the Kickstarter backers who originally...
Because they now think that they should get money.
Yes, and like, I think there's something... Okay, what's going on there is like, Kickstarter itself is a wonderful idea.
Sure.
But it's really not as far removed as just like buying a product.
Right. We talked about it. It's commerce, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's a good word.
And I think the thing is Kickstarter makes you feel like you are investing in a company when really you are just buying a product.
Yeah, you're investing in the product.
And
you're just buying the product.
And you get the added bonus of feeling like you contributed, but you can't expect...
And you help the small startup get their product to market by buying it early and probably getting a discount or a fancy T-shirt.
So, I mean, and then you have the developers and people in the game industry who just don't want to do business with Facebook, and that's just
silly.
That's gonna be a personal decision on their part.
Yeah.
But overall,
they'll probably come back around.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to. I mean, that platform is not going anywhere.
Well, from my point of view, I think, like you were saying earlier, Facebook is just the money. They're not going to be the brains. They're not going to come into Oculus like sock. I think people like picture them like coming in like Oculus, knocking stuff over, and like replacing it with like one-up pictures and Facebook.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to have like your wall VR. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they just want to say, okay, this is where tech's going. Obviously, big gaming company. They just want to get the tech out. I'm hoping they get it to us cheaper. That's the main goal, is get it to me cheaper, and like tomorrow would be good.
I mean, there are things that could happen that would make this deal bad. I mean, I'm not saying like there shouldn't be some skepticism there, but I think overall it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think we're safe. What else we have?
Well, the other news that came out, and it was kind of a surprise, is HTC One M8 was announced and summarily released on the same day.
Same day, and we have one. We have one right here. Here, look at the pretty.
Now, and I know you've spent
I've spent a couple days with it. It's a great phone. It's got the top of the line specs. It's got a 1080p screen. It's got 90% metal construction. I mean, this thing is ultra smooth. It's great. The browsing speed on this is the Verizon version, and the browsing is one of the best. I haven't had any issues at all. Even the camera, I know that there's been other reviews about the camera not working because it's like last year's camera. It's fine. I mean, when you blow the pictures up, they do look a little fuzzy, but on this camera, they look great. On the phone, on the screen, they look great. Yeah.
Now, what are some of the upgrades from the previous model?
Let's see. They've got a 40% battery life.
40% increase.
Yep. A little bit bigger screen.
More metal, right? It's like 90% metal.
Yeah, it's 90% metal. Bigger screen. They went to a 5-inch screen. And they removed the capacitive buttons that are down here and moved them onto the screen. And there's been some chatter about that, but the buttons on screen work better. The capacitive buttons just didn't function as well.
And I mean, this phone definitely feels like a premium phone.
Yeah, you can. I mean, it's strong. It's a tough phone. I've already dropped it because it is slick. So
And that's the dot matrix case.
Yeah, the dot matrix case, which is actually probably the case to get. Until everybody starts adopting it.
I think
it's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has some function and form as well. So great phone.
Yeah, the one thing
this is going to be the phone to beat because other phones are coming right now, and it has like every top of the line spec you could think of.
And I think it's interesting because I knew that they were going to release that phone March 25th, and you had Samsung doing their big announcements at Mobile World Congress in February. And there's always been this, like, the HTC One is a great phone, but people just tend to gravitate to Samsung when it comes to getting an Android phone. And I think HTC is trying to at least beat this S5 to market for at least a month or two to get some of these phones into people's hands. Because this is the phone. Like, their hopes and dreams are on this phone.
Sure.
So,
I mean, they took everything from last year's M7, put it in the M8, made everybody really happy with a little bit of a larger screen. It's bright. The boom speakers are still there, still loud, and SD card this year. So, and I think it's going to handle 128 gig card. We didn't test it, but so far everything that's been coming out is handling that. It's got the latest Snapdragon processor, so it's going to go head to head with Samsung Galaxy S5. So we'll probably review both of them. We'll probably have our opinion of it when we get the Samsung in.
Yeah, sounds great. Right. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about is our favorite subject. I know it's our favorite subject. Google Glass has another announcement. I think we've talked on the show before that one of the biggest problems with Google Glass is it's this piece of technology that is not like culturally consumed into our
they try to say that it's like headphones, but you know, when I went to the event, I saw a few reporters with the glass on, and you always want one. Like, I want one, and then when I see it on somebody, I go, I don't think I can put it on my head.
And we've written how I think Google's biggest challenge, and I think Google's even taught classes on like how to not be a glass hole. I think is like the terminology. It's how to not.
It's a perfect name for it. I mean, put it on when you need to. You don't really have to walk around the street and standing in line with it. You know, maybe put it on as soon as you get into your event would be a better thing. But now,
but Google is taking some strides to kind of get it into people, get it accepted, and they partnered with Oakley and Ray-Ban, and we can only assume more are coming.
Sure.
But these are just the first two. They're going to be working with Google on making, their brand of Google Glass.
Yeah, and hopefully, especially Oakley, we know that they're pretty great at, form-fitting something to the face and maybe being able to tuck it in a little bit more, hide it a little bit better, and then we'll be able to kind of walk around the street without looking too hole-ish.
Let's be real. If they could make a pair of eyeglasses that it was like almost seamlessly built into like one of the. I mean,
it'll
awesome.
happen. So let's see what develops with the two partners.
So that'll do it for us this week. I'm Darren,
and I'm Anthony,
and this is Decoded.